how can your relationship help you build wealth 10 times faster than if you were single or by yourself? So I think a lot of us who are in relationships or who consider being in a relationship, especially as a guy, I think we oftentimes feel that, our women, right, like should be mostly at home, taking care of house duties and whatnot, right? And, if we have kids, she's taking care of kids, or she's just doing things sort of, just she's just nurturing like the house and whatever, right? Just what women typically like to do. But right, like in the case that your girl might work, right, maybe you're young and you're trying to figure things out, and you're really wanting to become wealthier, you're wanting to build a solid investment portfolio, and something that can be sustainable long term and can really grow extremely rapidly, like just rapidly and at a high degree. Then I think your girlfriend or your wife working, right, isn't the worst thing, if obviously you have intentions to keep her, at home. I think every guy, should, right, want to keep his girlfriend at home, right? Like if he's making enough money, or he's able to cover the bills and pay for everything without, basically living paycheck to paycheck, then I think that's what every guy wants, right? And I think women, like most women, I think would want to do that, right? Like you guys have probably seen clips or videos, they ask women all the time, like, if your guy made enough money to keep you at home, would you want to stay at home, right? And most of them say yes. You'd be surprised, like 90% of them say yes, like they absolutely would. So how can you, if you're in a relationship and you're working and your girlfriend are working, how can you sort of tag team the wealth process and achieve your goals a lot faster in a shorter period of time, as opposed to you being single? Well, you have to look at it this way, right? Let's say you're making $50,000 a year and your expenses amount to about $40K a year. So you're only able to save $10,000 a year, which is like $900 a month, right? You probably, right, like if you have $900 a month, you might invest between 40 and 50% of that. So $400 to $500 a month, right? That $400 to $500, right, might make you wealthy by investing, let's say you just invest in a basic index fund or ETF. That might make you wealthy in 20 to 40 years, right? Now, let's say your girlfriend, right, jumps alongside with you. Let's say she makes 30K a year, right? Or 35, right? Let's say she helps you out with groceries, right? So, or something, right? Maybe she doesn't pay anything. Well, her income can go straight to investments, right? If she's with you, right, and she's, you guys have this joint money sort of outlook on finances and how your relationship goes, which I think is beneficial, then she's going to be willing to help you, right? She's going to be willing to, help you invest some of that money so that you have a better outlook for her, not only herself, but you as well, right? Like it'll help you because you'll be able to keep her at home, right? You might be able to get to a point where the passive income that you guys create is able to, keep both of you guys at home and keep your children at home. So the idea behind this, right, is to make your lives better quicker. So I mentioned, if you were by yourself, it might take you a little longer, right? Like you might have a 20 to 30 year time frame by the looks of it, depending on how much you're able to invest. But again, if you're able to invest, most of if your wife's able to help you out in a sense and invest, a good sum of her money, maybe 50%, right? Not all of it, obviously, you want some savings and some money in the bank, but even 30 to 40%, right? Like that can cut the time in half. So instead of it taking you, 20 years, it takes you 10 years. Or instead of it taking you 30, it takes you 15, right? I think anyone would love that idea, right? So this is something that, obviously, like, and this goes back to really just like, like a lot of relationships, let's be real, like they're casual. Like not even just with like teenagers and college kids and high schoolers, but like relationships in general, even like middle-aged adults, right? Like, or young adults, late 20s, 30s, even 40s, like the relationships that we have with each other are so superficial in the sense that we're like try babies, right? We just try people out and we see if it works. We don't really have this sort of like intent to commit and build something. We just kind of want to date and have someone there, right? When we're bored, or when we're maybe we're feeling lonely, or we just want some companionship, right? Like we just want someone who will go do stuff with us, right? That I think, and obviously the sex, right? Like, everyone loves having sex, right? So when you really boil it down, those are some of the things that I would say establish a casual mindset on relationships. But, if you're someone who, whether you want to have marriage and children, right? And you want to build a legacy, right? That's a totally different outlook, right? And that entails different ways of vetting a woman, right? Like, so, if you're of that idea and you're of that plan for you and your potential girlfriend / wife, right, then obviously it makes sense to evaluate her as far as her ability to want to give and her ability to want to serve you and be a part of you, right? Like, again, and it goes back to having separate bank accounts, right? Like, people who like have separate bank accounts, no offense, like, I don't think it's the worst thing, right? Because some women obviously have this idea that they want to save themselves in case their guy leaves them or whatever, which is, again, is most women are the ones who establish divorces and leave, right? But again, that's another conversation. If you're wanting to have joint bank accounts, right, I think that's great, right? Because it builds trust and it builds faith that what you guys are doing, what you guys are planning for, is going to benefit you for life, right? Like, if it's able to keep your girlfriend or wife at home, if you're able to take your kids out of public schools and homeschool them, right? Like, that's huge, right? Like, raising the next generation in a traditional household where the values that you teach them are in your control. Like, they're not subject to the values that the school system wants to indoctrinate them with. That is going to be that would be very huge as far as developing better people for society in the future. So this is definitely something to consider, right? And again, you have to figure out the logistics on your end, right? Like, depending on how much you make, and obviously what you want to invest in, what you think has good growth potential. That's totally up to you, right? Like, obviously I like Bitcoin, I like Ethereum, I like Vanguard index funds. I like some tech stocks that are, look cheap right now. But, right, the point is that if she's able to add an additional 30 to 40% of her paycheck, right, to whatever investments that you're investing in, right, that can speed up the process. So you guys don't have to be wage slaves forever, right? Because let's be real. Like, me personally, like, I don't, obviously no one wants to be like working for someone else and a wage slave, but I'd rather have my girlfriend be at home if the money, if we have investments that are able to cover us and be able to take care of us to the point where we're still, we're net positive at the end of each month. Like, she would obviously be the first one to be at home, not me, right? Because that's my job, is to work and produce and provide. So this is just, I want you guys to start thinking about this as far as your relationships with women. If you're in one or you're considering one, I want you guys to have a sort of an open mind to what's possible when it comes to money, and when it comes to how it can, how basically you guys fusing your finances together can build your future to the point where you guys have a better life, right? Like, your lifestyle is better because you guys understand the value of joint bank accounts and basically, you guys investing together per se, or she's just giving you, a portion of her, of the funds that she makes. So something to consider, something to look into, and something to, obviously plan out and really look at, where or how much you guys can afford to, invest together. So yeah, I think I've covered everything. And that goes to show, like, I think it's better, to be single, like, as a guy, right? Like, if you can't find a woman who wants to this is, again, joint bank accounts is just one example, but realistically, if you don't, like, if this is your idea and a woman doesn't want to join along with you, right, like, then you have to cut that relationship, right? You have to cut that tie, right? Because if you see the value of what you're doing and you see the vision for how, you know, it can better your life, right, or how it can better the both of you, you know, it can better basically the both of you guys, and she can't see that, well, again, then that's your fault for not vetting her properly. So this comes down to vetting. This comes down to, you know, what you have to ask these questions, right? Like when you're on a date or when you're talking to women, right, over text or in person, whatever, once you get to know them, right? Hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about joint bank accounts? Hey, what do you think about being a stay-at-home wife? Hey, you know, these things need to be brought up if you're going to make it happen. So in the event that you don't bring these up, right, then that's when you shoot yourself in the foot later on, right, when you're afraid to bring something up and you end up bringing it up and then she's just like not about it, right? Like that you wasted your time and then you also wasted her time. So I don't want you guys to be in a situation like that, and obviously I want the best outcome for you, and I obviously don't want you as a guy, right, to waste all your time with a woman that just doesn't want, you know, an ideal relationship outcome. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.